Hello everybody, and welcome to game number 5 of the quarterfinal series from the Intel Extreme Masters Tournament between EG.IdrA, spawning as the Zerg in the top right position, his opponent, the Protoss player Squirtle of Team Startail, spawning over here in the top left. Now, there is a lot on the line here. Like I said, this is game number 5, so we are 2-2 in this series. Just a quick recap, and if you don't want to hear it, pause the video now. Spoiler alert, going to go over some previous game information. IdrA took game number 1 on xel'naga Caverns, able to really macro up. Squirtle did not, well, he pretty much just let IdrA do his own thing there. Kind of went up a couple times, poked and prodded, but not a whole lot. And on the whole, IdrA got into the late game and really just excels in his macro, and that's exactly what he used. And he did secure game number 1. So game number 2 took place on the map Metalopolis, where Squirtle actually changed it up a little bit. He went with a 3-gate Stargate build with a proxy pylon, very close to IdrA's natural expansion, denied him that third base, pressed on, killed his queens, and took game number 2. So at that point they were 1-1. Game number 3 took place on the map Lost Temple, where we effectively saw a repeat of the strategy from game number 2. Again, the fast void rays, he did increase the count from 1 to 3 that game. Also pushed ahead with a few more gateway units as well. IdrA tried to compensate by getting Hydras a tiny bit earlier, but again, just could not match it up. So game number 4, we proceeded to Scrap Station, where IdrA was able to hold on, and actually the Protoss player went with a fast expansion build, kind of went a more traditional gateway robotics facility build, got some Colossi. And IdrA denied the Protoss player 3 different bases and just out-expanded, outplayed, out-macroed, and just did a great job controlling the map and keeping the Protoss player contained down to 2 bases. So here we are on the map Shakuras Plateau, the final game between these two players, the Blastoise Pokemon guy thingy, I don't know, whatever it is, but against the Kraken, 2 very well-respected giant sea monsters. Well, I don't know about respected for the Pokemon. Oh, I'm sure I'm going to catch so much flack for that. But that's okay, because it's all in good humor, as, like I said, this is Starcraft 2, we're all about having fun. Protoss actually now throwing down his expansion very early here. Look at that. We're not even past the 5-minute mark, and this is where the defenses are going down for Squirtle. This is actually something you see a good bit in this map. This is a pretty easy to hold position compared to some other expansions, particularly for the Protoss player, because of the fact that the top ramp here to the main base is in such darn close proximity to the ramp for the natural expansion here. And we even have a couple Zerglings going to be heading out across the middle of the map, probably claim the watchtowers. You see that 2 of them are being used right here. 2 of them mainly because of the fact there might be a probe here. Knock those out super quick. Not that big of a deal if there is one. And also a photon cannon here. Ooh, this is interesting. This is hopefully going to be able to prevent run-bys. It'll be a lot more effective once he does have what looks like a final building here, because thinking he could either block it off with some zealots if he decides to let the forces come up here, or it looks like he is going to indeed blocking off with the cybernetics core. Check that out, man. Probe's already transferred down here. We are going to see his income really kick off, as the Zerg expansion is not quite complete. Look at that. We're seeing kind of taper up just a little bit, despite the fact that he does have 3 additional harvesters working on gas right now. Ooh, what's he got in store, man? I'm really looking forward to this. I'm sure tensions are high today on Shakuras Plateau as the Zerglings are heading back, and IdrA's probably thinking to himself, you know what, there's that expansion there. I've really got to do something about that. In the meantime, he does have the Roach Warren. Roach is always a very safe bet for early game defense, and he looks like he's actually sending them out. 3 Roaches are going to be heading out towards the middle of the map as we speak. A few additional Zerglings and Roaches as well here. He is using these larvae over here at the natural expansion to start working on the drones. If he is going to be attacking, you probably don't want to sacrifice too much, don't want to put too much into it, or else it'll really start to show later on in the game progresses. Look at that, just running on 1 drone right now on the extractor. Doesn't really need a ton of gas. I mean, Roaches only cost 75 minerals, 25 gas, so you can cut the gas production a little bit in order to try to get that mineral count up a tiny bit. Let's look at the Protoss base here. A Stargate is now complete. Oh, looks like that building was not meant for this world. Oh man, look at this. IdrA coming here, game number 5, trying to push out, changing his tactics just a little bit, and that poor little Roach getting trapped under the force field. Meanwhile, IdrA still trying to do any damage that he can, knocking out this the cybernetics core. Will he be able to do it, though? The Protoss does not have a lot of units here that are really able to deal with what the Zerg has. You see, the Roaches do have the range upgrade from the recent patch to range 4 from range 3. I think that was in 1.2, so that's going to help out a good bit, but nonetheless, the Cybernetics core is going to be going down. Oh, man, Void Ray just not able to get there quite in the nick of time. IDrA realizing that, you know what, there's not a whole lot else that can be done at this point. I'm just going to pull the forces back and probably try to hold his choke there. As we see the drone count now, it's actually still pretty close to being even. Look at that right there, 33 to 34. He is continuing to produce them at a pretty darn rapid rate. He realizes, you know what, I've really got to catch up there. I did invest a little bit into that attack, lost a few units, so got to make sure that I don't fall behind the Protoss player. Of course, with the Zerg, you never want to stay down a base, or much less equal to a base that your opponent has. So looks like he's got four drones in that extractor. Might see him change that up in just a minute. I don't know. But it's IDrA, so that's okay. We'll allow for such things here. Void Ray just kind of flying around, looking for any overlords that he can pop off. He's probably thinking to himself, you know, I do have a little bit of map control with this one thing. He doesn't want to overextend himself, though, because he knows those queens can take out that Void Ray very quickly. Notice they do not have enough energy for any sort of self-healing. Again, not going to be an issue, though. There is one Phoenix going to be coming over here scouting, just seeing if anything is of particular interest for the Zerg player. Any special information, which right now there's not a whole lot. The Roach speed upgrade is on the way. We don't have the burrow like we did in the previous game. Zergling speed is actually coming now as well, so you see that was obviously delayed there in an attempt to try to put a little bit more pressure early on by getting those Roaches out. We see actually the Protoss player is just kind of building up right now. He's not doing a whole lot. He's going with 3 additional gateways. Going to be able to really produce some units very quickly here. Hydralisk Den is now on the way. Going to be able to get some Hydras that deal with those Void Rays, man. You really don't want those Void Rays flying all over the map, popping off your overlords like they are right now. Look at that. IDrA is actually supply blocked, and a little bit more now. Look at that, 82 to 68. He is definitely not happy about that whatsoever. He may actually decide to throw down another expansion here. He's sitting on enough minerals for it. That remains to be seen what he actually does, though. 3 overlords are in the way. It looks like a bunch of them just popped up there. He's really getting tired of having to deal with that. A couple Zerglings hanging out here at the base of the ramp. There's not squat they can do, though. You've got this nice wall off here. Take a lot of Banelings to hit it. Obviously not going to be on IDRA's agenda, a Baneling bust against the Protoss here in the natural expansion, but still pretty lousy to entertain the thought. Now, most likely just keeping these here at the base of the ramp, just giving the Protoss something to think about, you know, having those Zerglings right outside of the base. Meanwhile, the Protoss player is actually working on and taking out the rocks. You see they're a little bit flipped up here. I guess there's just kind of a gravity hole or something here. I don't know. That's okay, but these Zealots will continue to punch the air as the Protoss player doing a great job here, continuing to scout out with the Phoenix. We're seeing Squirtle doing a great job here with the recon this game. Saw in a couple games before, you know, not quite as up to date on the information at certain key points in the game. But still, nonetheless, I do like how he's keeping this Void Ray parked right here, saying, no, IDrA, you will not be taking this expansion. Look at that right there, ladies and gentlemen. The Void Ray will be charging up. There are a couple Hydras here hoping to take this out. Will this Void Ray engage them, though? Looks like no, doing the smart thing, pulling that back. 4 Hydras, way more powerful than 1 Void Ray. Meanwhile, the Protoss player has knocked out the rocks here blocking this expansion. Look at this. Protoss is actually sitting on about 600 minerals, 150 gas here. We'll keep an eye on him, seeing what he's going to do with that. In the meantime, just take a quick look at the expansion. You can see that the extended thermal lance upgrade is on the way. Also, a couple overlords coming from IDrA, who does have the speed upgrade there. One observer tailing those guys as well, just seeing what's going on. And we have an expansion. Now, this is kind of a ballsy move right here, folks. Very close to the Zerg player. Of course, the Zerg isn't probably thinking the best idea is to knock off his rocks, because, like I said earlier, he's been more or less down a base here up until this point in the game. So, not the happiest at this point with his army. Probably production a little bit behind where he wants it to be. But he is working on getting Armor 1 right now, as well as a Spire. So certainly not having that Spire here, you know, the great delay of the Corruptors is really going to allow the Protoss player a little bit more leeway here, moving into what could be an attack. I don't know. We're seeing the Zerg player having knocked out his rocks now, going to try to engage. Uh-oh, he sees the expansion. Colossi are going to be engaging. This could be it, ladies and gentlemen. We do have the Protoss forcing over here, force fielding, knocking off a lot of those Roaches. Look at that, man. Those Roaches cannot get back there to their friends whatsoever. More force fields have gone down. keeping the Zerg completely at bay, while the Colossi just continue to take out small bunches of forces, man. Creeping generated all over the place here, hoping to deny this expansion if the Zerg player is able to push through. I don't think he's going to be able to. Look at that, man. The two Colossi are intact. There are no Corruptors in the field right now, and there's the GG! So IDrA getting knocked out 2-3 here on Shakura's Plateau, where the final game has been played by both of these players. Very exciting match series between these two guys. Congratulations to both of them, particularly to the Protoss player Squirtle, who I guess was just promoted to a Blastoise. There's plenty of water on this map, and he's going to go wreck some stuff. All right, well, good games here. Hope you did enjoy the format. I try to condense them down a little bit. I realize that there's still 3 videos, but you know, there's really only so much that I want to do. I don't want to have to upload like one giant 18 gigabyte video, because that would just be really impractical. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the series, and I'm out.